go over how to build a page in Google Sites. And you'll be using this as a possibility for building your photo portrait project layout. So I really like Google Sites, especially compared to other kind of drag and drop editors like Wix or Weebly. I think it's very user friendly, and having it in your Google account is just makes it kind of easy to add materials to it from your other Google apps, etc. So it is a Google app. So to get there, you first just log into your Google account. I'm just here on Drive. And if you go into the apps folder here, click on Sites, or the URL will just be sites.google.com. And you can start a new site based on a blank. You can use templates. I think the templates are a little cluttered when you're first learning. So even though they have some really useful features and you're welcome to look at them, and of course you can change everything around, sometimes it helps to just start with a blank slate and see what the tools are. So I'm going to create a blank website by just clicking. I'm going to give it a title. Now, somewhere on your page title, please put your name so I know whose project it is. Doesn't have to be in this spot in particular. This is an area they add for logos, but for right now, I'm just going to make some basic title. For this text, as you start typing it, you have control over the font and size, color, etc. And then this whole thing, which is the header, including the logo icon or this little header, this teeny little tab, which you can add text to or a logo if you wanted to. This title, and there's this graphic behind it. You can change the type of header here by basically this just changes the size of this graphic in the background. You can make it cover sized, but to be honest, I don't think this doesn't really have anything to do with my project. You can, of course, add an image if you want, but I'm going to keep it very minimal by just having it be title only, and that allows the images we're going to put in to do most of the visual storytelling lifting. So now that we got a title and our little header spot, I'm going to add the images, some sample images here, and move them around. So there's a number of ways you can do this. One is just by dragging and dropping. I'm on a Mac, but it should work similarly on a Windows Run machine. You can just drag. These are some lovely sample pictures by Calypso Broll of their dogs. I'm going to use those for samples right now. You can click and drag. And as I put it in here, you see it housed the image, the picture, within this kind of rectangle here that when I'm not clicking on it, it has this little dotted lines. So I can move this image anywhere within that rectangle. I can change its size if I click on it once and pull the side handles. It's a little, I love that you're allowed to maneuver the images and there's different sections of a page here without the use of a kind of bunch of dividers and other things that are I think kind of tricky and get cluttered in some of the other drag and drop editors. So that part about Google Sites I do really like. You can add more pictures this way. You can add them to the same section so they're in a line. If you wanted to add them to a different section, you have a little bit more vertical up and down control over where you're placing them. And so in this way, you can place the images anywhere you want in relation on the page. Again, the relationship between the images is important in a project like this. In a later video, I'll show you how to build, or I'll link you to another tutorial that shows you how to build subpages that you can have for some of your portraits there. I'll move this one up here just to keep them all in line. If you want to add, do some basic editing, you click on the image itself. You can crop it, add a link, so it could be a button to another page. You can remove it there. You can also have more options to include a caption if you want, or add alt text. that will have that will be good for accessibility. That's up to you though. Again, there's not a lot of text required for this project, but if you want to add little bits of text, you can also add text text elements in themselves. But we're just going to focus on putting some pictures in. There's another neat tool that I think will be useful for this project if you want to choose to use it, and it's in here. And this column over here is a bit of other control, different types of layouts that come out of the box. This one I will show because it could be useful to you if you wanted to put 4 images in a row with text captions. If you click this content block, you can then click the plus signs to add your images, click down here to edit text, and it just makes it a little bit more uniform. And then of course when you do that, you can shuffle them around, but it's a good place to start as well as just kind of dragging and dropping like we did earlier. And if you want to get rid of a particular section, as I'm clicking it, they're being highlighted, you can just hit this delete section here. So this other, so that's content blocks, a different kind of basic layout, and then the particular types of tools and content that you can add to the site are here. There's a lot, because it's attached to Google, you can add a lot of your other apps there as well. But this one is really useful, I think, or could be useful for the portrait project, this image carousel. If I click it, I'm going to add some images. I think you have to hit the button. I feel like when I dragged and dropped it last time, it didn't work out so well. So let's get these images again. They'll pop up here. You can reorder them if you want, move them around. And then if you want to have, it'll run as a slideshow. That's what a carousel is, or it can run as a slideshow. To get it to run automatically, you click the settings, you click auto start, and then it has the transition speed of how long it holds on an image before it advances to the next. So I'm going to insert there. So this could just be the tools that you need, maybe even a couple of these for your the way you want to lay out your pictures. Oh, if you don't want it to show these kind of dots about how many images there are here at the bottom, again, you can go to settings, the settings of the settings, and deselect the show or add dots. I'm just going to leave them in there for now, but that's how you get rid of that if you want to. So you'll see it put the carousel also in its own section. So you can, if you wanted to move it further around, resize it, you can. It'll readjust that particular section that it's in. Great. So for color, you know, some might not want to be stuck with a white background for your page. That's one thing that this program doesn't do really easily, is customizable colors for backgrounds. I'm guessing it's because they want to have Google wants really tight control over some of its design elements. But there is sort of workarounds by making your own theme. So here are the inserts, the tools we can use. Here's another way. I should have mentioned this. You can select in images into here, and also select these images once they're loaded into your page directly. If that's a different way. Lots of ways of doing the same thing, a lot of redundancies, so that's good. What was I saying? Oh, we want to change the color of some of the background here. A workaround to get us around the fact that there isn't a universal page color change is to make our own theme. So in theme here, here's the theme that we've been using so far, the default theme. If you click on these other themes, it's really just changing the font, and if I added a header type, the background image, etc. So I'm fine with this one for the font. I like this font. I'm going to make a new one though, because you can then control the color palette a little bit better. So I'm going to click custom. I'm going to try for black background. You can add your own logo and banner image if you want. But right now I just want to change the color palette we have. So it has preset colors here. I'm going to pick this palette of, looks like blacks and off blacks. Click next. I'm not worried about the maybe, oh, if you want your particular fonts, because this will change the font of that particular section. You can add those fonts there. You can also, of course, change the font here. I like that Leto. And you'll see that it made the backgrounds, I'm not sure exactly if it's perfectly black, but certainly darker. And if you want to change that, you select the that particular area, this kind of box that it made that houses this particular image, and you can select colors, but then you're sort of stuck with the style colors that are included in that color palette. So you're not constantly able to change everything, but if you wanted just a basic background color change, you can do it that way. I know it makes a big difference, the background color, for looking closely at photographs, because a light background might wash out an image in a certain way you don't want it. So that's how you have control over it, is you have to go here into themes, make a custom background, and then select it. And if you don't like what you did, you can always go back to the default template that it was using, and it should be set. Okay, this all looks great. Let's test it. So there's a really nice testing tool here under preview. If I click preview, it gives us the option to test for what it looks like on a phone, a tablet, or large screen monitor. So here it is as a monitor. We can see the layout. It's looking good. Oh, so that's like the title page. That top bit follows with us as you scroll down. So we see the carousel running. The one thing that that this doesn't do, this program, when you add a carousel like this, is it doesn't put a crossfade transition. There's no option to animate the transitions, unfortunately. You could build a slideshow that animates with crossfades in maybe Google Slides or another slideshow carousel, and then embed it in this site. But that's a little bit maybe more work and beyond the scope of this first project. So if this works for you and you like how the images are animated like this, that's definitely a choice that y'all can make for the layout. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Let's take a look at it in, this is how it look mobile devices. So the images are very large. Folks will have to scroll, and then also for tablet in between. So make sure to check each one of the layouts. I'll be looking at these on a laptop. So if you wanted to format specifically for one, for the strengths of one layout, I guess large screen would be a way to go. But it doesn't hurt to have your projects all be viewable on different devices, because that's how we work in the world. So I'm going to exit my preview. This all looks great. I'm ready to publish. So I can go over here, push the publish button, and you can give it a different web address if you want. Jacob R. Oh, can only use letters. So this is what the URL will be. If you have a custom domain for later projects, or even for now, you can enter that info here. So if you have a domain for your own website that you want to build on Google Sites, but publish it in a domain that you already have, you enter that information here. And then if you want, this can be important for folks who maybe don't want to have their stuff viewable online by people outside of the class. You can select who views your sites. It can either be entirely public, or restricted means anybody with the URL can access it, but it won't be searchable. And you might have to log in, similar to other Google things, like if you share a Google Doc with somebody. We're going to keep it public for now, which is fine. Click done. Publish. Site has been published successfully. Great, I'm going to view it. So here it is, that URL with the carousel, lovely dog pictures. Any edits we make here, we then hit publish again, and it should update those edits relatively quickly. Let's say we're done with this page, we're done with the project, and you don't want to have it online anymore. You can select here, unpublish, and you can also change your settings, etc. and click got it. So that, when we go back to here and we view it again, yep, it went offline. So if you want to test how it looks published, even beyond the little tester you did, and then want to unpublish it, it's really easy to move back and forth. So that's great. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.